طيب بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وعلى. I'd like to welcome you all to the first lecture of week 4 from ICS 104. So, any questions before we proceed? How was the quiz?
Good.
ما سمعناك يا فيصل، انت فتحت المايك وطفيته وما طلع منك شيء.
غريبة، صوتي كان واضح. زين الاختبار دكتور.
طيب
دكتور كيف نعرف
أيوة يا عم.
الأجوبة حقت الاختبار؟
عيد مرة ثانية.
أقول كيف نعرف الأجوبة حقت الاختبار؟
الأجوبة؟
إيه
Okay. Yeah, if you want to see the answers and even my feedback, especially on the small programming part, if you go to your quiz and click on the mark that you got. If you click on the mark that you got, it will take you to the it will give you the feedback. Okay.
the
You will see
blackboard.
all. Yes, on Blackboard. If you click on the mark, it will show you your answers, your wrong answers, or your right answers, and will show you my feedback on the question that I manually graded.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Doctor,
Yes.
just the problem that was in homework part 1,
Aywa, which problem?
that the answer of one of the calculations was 243.
Yes.
For some student that he showed that it showed that the answer is wrong,
Yes.
and
It
for
was
some
fixed.
what?
It was fixed.
Okay, it was fixed. Okay,
Yes. Go check it. It was fixed.
thank you, Doctor.
Yeah. Okay. So can you see the slide?
Yes, Doctor.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So last week we looked at the last thing that we looked at in this chapter was a single format specifier. We basically got introduced to the string format operator, the percentage sign, and we used it to format the output in a specific way, right? So, for example, if I want my output to be aligned to the right, the sign after the percentage sign should be positive or negative? Aligned to the right. So this means that I'm adding spaces to the left.
Positive.
Positive, exactly. So it should be positive. Now, if I want to align it to the left, which means that I'm adding spaces to the right, then I basically use a negative sign. Okay, I use a negative sign after the percentage. And we looked at how decimals are done and how floating points also are output, and we will redo them when we talk about the multiple format specifiers. So what's the deal behind multiple format specifiers? Well, in our previous example, we had only one specified in the string that comes before the format string operator. But now we will see actually more than one. We can see, for example, in this case, we can see 2, we can see 3, we can see 4, we can see 10. We can see as many, specifiers as we wish in that string. Right. So how does that change? For example, the syntax. Well, in this case, the variables to the right of the string format operator need to be included between parentheses and separated by commas. So we need to include them between, you know, open bracket, close bracket, and separated by commas. Later on, we will see that these are basically called tuples. These are called tuples by Python. Okay, and that's it. And the rest is exactly the same. The rest is exactly the same. So, for example, if I want to interpret, you know, this format specifier, what does that mean? Well, it means the following. Basically, I will use the first 10 spaces for the string. Of course, if the string has length, you know, less than or equal to 10 spaces. If it was greater than 10 spaces, I will, you know, display all the string, even if it was 40 spaces. I will display all the string, right? And then, as you can see here, there's a space. So after that, it will print a space, and then after that, it will print, you know, the next format specifier, which is basically an integer, again, 10 spaces. So if it is 10 spaces or less, you know, it will use the 10 spaces or the 10 positions where any additional positions are replaced by spaces, in this case, to the left. In this case, the spaces are places to the left. What about the second one? Well, the second one is exactly the same, but here instead of a decimal, now we have a floating point. Okay. طيب, okay. So if I try to print this, you know, shift enter. If I try to run this, now as you can see, quantity and price are basically, you know, right aligned. So since quantity is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this means that since this is 10, we must have a space here, one space. Okay, we have exactly one space. For price, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we should have 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, and the 4 spaces. Okay, and the 4 spaces. And of course, this is the first decimal, which is taking the 10 positions. And this is the 10.2 floating point. As you can see, the 0.2 will take 2 from here, so it added a 0. Okay, and of course, since we have here the length is 1, 2, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need to have 4 spaces. So we have the 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4 spaces. And then the space between the 2 format specifiers, well, this is the space between the 2 format specifiers. And then I have the rest, basically this space. Any question, ya shabab? Any question? طيب. So let me do this. Okay. You know, let me change it this way. And I would like you to do it on the chat. In order to incorporate, oh, this is not right. This needs to be after the percent sign. Huh? This needs to be after the percent sign. So on the chat, instead of each space, you know, including the space in between here, use a hyphen. Okay, for each space, use a hyphen. Okay. Now let me show you. Show me on the chat your answers, and then we will see, you know, which ones are basically correct, or we'll discuss one of them. Yeah. Okay. And I can see Abdul Majid. And for some reason, I don't know why I don't see it on my desktop. I only see it on my mobile. Very strange. Okay. طيب, so all of you did kind of the first one, right? What about the second line? طيب, let's choose أيوة يا خالد.
يا دكتور أنا تقريبا دخلت على 8 و9 دقايق. ليت ولا أعتبر أبسنت؟
طيب, next time you shouldn't interrupt us for this question. You should wait until the end of the class.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I'll do that in the end of the class.
Okay.
طيب. Okay. So for some reason I cannot see the answers. I cannot see the answers on the meeting chat. For some reason, I don't know why. The only place that I can see is on my mobile. So Abdul Majid, how many hyphens did you have between the 203 with quantity?
It was 10, but for I don't know, for the writer, he writes some hyphen left the price. I mean, write the number. So this I think this is 7, and with no, this is 6. With these 4, it is
Okay.
10. I think
Okay.
it goes from the left.
Okay. So let's see. Since here I specified minus 10s, so this means that I'm going to add the spaces to the right, right? So, and since quantity is 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Since it is 9, I will have one space from here. I have another space from the space between these two, two spaces, and then I have 7 for the 203, right? I have 7 for the 203, so it will be kind of 11, huh? So let's do it. So as you can see here, it is now aligned to the left. It's not aligned to the right. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I have 9 spaces, right? I have 9 spaces. 1 plus plus 1 plus 1, which is 2, plus the 7 is 9. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 7 is 9.
Doctor?
Now,
sorry, I just remembered. The second one has no problem. It has right. It is right. It's for hyphen for the and 6 for the price, and it goes from the left 10 reaching to the number. Sorry, I just remembered.
Right. For the second one, the only change is that the price has become left aligned, right? The price has become left aligned. So with these 2 decimal places, 3, 4, 5, 6, I need to add 4 spaces to the right. So basically we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and of course we have the space in between these. Okay, right. So you can basically play with this. You can do whatever you like, and you can see the behavior. You can see the behavior of the string format operator. So this is basically the string format operator. and this is basically the syntax which we talked about. Okay. Fine. Okay. Now, so yeah, so this is what we were basically doing, and this is basically an explanation. So we have already done that. طيب. Anybody can guess what is problematic about this statement sequence? What do you foresee that there is a problem? Not necessarily, you know, an error, but
Doctor,
yes.
when it showed the number,
Mm?
because the input and it because the input are showing strings, it will show the problem. It should show the numbers.
It should show the number. No, it will show the number. If I say here print cans, it will print. It will print the number because it becomes the integer. It becomes integer. But look at what happens when I run it. Okay? Look at what happens when I run it, and then tell me what's wrong. Let's say 10 cans.
Doctor, I think it's better to put int before input.
Before input, well, this is regarding the best practices or the convention, which is absolutely correct. But this is not what I'm looking for. Look at the output and tell me if there is something which needs to be fixed.
It print 10 twice.
It prints 10 twice.
Doctor.
Okay.
Or it print 10 without meaning. Yeah. What's 10?
Doctor.
It's just a number.
Right. Let's see. Go ahead.
There's no space between cans and the 10, so we need to put space between the cans and the parentheses. So
between the S and the double parentheses. It's better to put a space because it will look better. Huh? It will look better. So now when I put 10, now when you read, please enter the number of cans, and it says 10. Okay, and it says 10.
Or we can put two double dots after can, so it looks better.
Well, even if you do it this way, it will look better, huh? But would it look better if you did not have a space between the colon and the 10? Well, يعني, to me it doesn't look that. It's better, with a space. Huh? Better with a space. Okay. طيب يا شباب. So using the string format operator, print the values of the variables bottles and cans so that the output looks like this. The numbers to the right should line up, meaning, as you can see, the numbers here, they are right aligned, right? The numbers here are right aligned. You may assume that the numbers are integers and have at most 8 digits. So these numbers have at most 8 digits. Okay. So let's see your ideas of a solution.
It will show the rest zeros.
What do you mean it will show the rest zeros? No, there are no zeros in the output. Here there are spaces. I needed. Yes, go ahead.
I don't know if I understand well, but if he said that the integer should have at most 8 digits, so the rest, if I have just here 8.
No. What I mean is that you may assume that the numbers have at most 8 digits. Yani, for example, this number has 1 digit, this number has 2 digits. You can assume that the numbers have at most 8 digits.
Okay.
Okay, it's just if you assume that the numbers may have 20 digits, the 8 and the 24 might be here, for example. Okay.
It will. It should. I can put the 10, the minus for the spaces, so it can start away, and then I can put.
No. Show me on the chat.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if it is in chat here.
Yeah. Show me on the chat, yes, Sabab. Write on the chat. Write on the chat, and then we'll write the answer here. So this is the value of bottles. This is the value of cans, and you will enter your solution here. Let's see. Okay. Let me. Okay, again, I don't see the. Okay, let me see them here. It seems I have some setting in my disk. Right. So 10S. طيب يا شباب minus 10S 10D عبد المجيد. Let me see. Let me see if I can get it from here. طيب. Okay, so you looked at your solutions. Let's actually look at some different solutions to this problem so that we can go forward. I wish I could have copied your solutions. So basically, in the first two solutions, which are absolutely correct, we use only a single format specifier just for the bottles and the cans, and we just put it this way, bottles 8D, cans, and then we add spaces until we come here, and then we say 8D. Okay, so this is one solution. Another solution is, when you say bottles 8D and cans, if you want to put only a single space, then you need to, take for the 1, 2, 3 characters here. So 3 plus 8, so now it will be 11D. Or what you can do is you can do something like this, negative 8S 8D, negative 8S 8D. So this means that this is going to be left aligned, this is going to be left aligned, this is going to be right aligned, this is going to be right aligned. Okay, so any of these solutions is a correct solution. Any of these solutions is a correct solution. Okay. Okay. Right. So let's move on. Let's move on to the third. Let's move on to the third chapter, which is on decision structures, right? Basically, the reading assignment is chapter 3, sections 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 7, 8, and 9. 7, 8, and 9. Right. So at the end of this chapter, you will be able to implement decisions using the if statement. To compare integers, floating point numbers, and strings, we will see the relational operators. To write statements using Boolean expressions, so we will see the and, the or, what do they mean, and to validate user input, Okay. So a computer program often needs to make decisions based on input or circumstances. If you remember, when we first, discussed, when we first took chapter 2, there was a problem there regarding, which one is more economical, a six-pack of cans or a 1 2-liter bottle, right? And when we looked at the solution, we said we wished, that we knew if statements, because we could have printed, a statement that says, oh, the six-pack is more economic than the 2-volume, the 2-liter, the 2-liter bottle. However, we did not know how to do it, right? So this is what we will do in this chapter, is we will see, how we can, based on certain conditions, take certain actions or display certain messages. Okay, and this is basically going to be done through the if statement. So the if statement allows the program to carry out different actions depending on the nature of the data to be processed. So it's just like, when you reach a road and you basically have a choice of either, going this way to the right or going this way to the left. So the if statement is used to implement basically a decision, and that decision is usually based on a certain condition, right? The two key words of the if statement are if and else, and we will see them, inshallah, in a few seconds. So basically, when a condition is fulfilled, one set of statements is executed, right? Otherwise, another set of statements is executed. This is in terms of the if-else. This is in terms of the if-else statement. Okay. So let's take an example. In some countries, the number 13 is considered unlucky. Okay, it's considered unlucky. Now, of course, is this okay? Is this okay to تشاؤم هذا?
Of course no.
No, it is not.
Of course not, huh? Right, anyway. So that's what they think. So to avoid offending tenants, building owners sometimes skip the 13th floor. Okay, so floor 12 is immediately followed by floor 14. And of course, yani, they will not leave the 13th floor empty, right? It's just, yani, anyway. So floor 13 is called floor 14. Okay, floor 13 is called floor 14. So now the computer that controls the building's elevators needs to compensate for this, small glitch, for this foible, and adjust all floor numbers that are above 13, and adjust all floor numbers that are above 13. So let us simulate this process in Python. Basically, what will happen is we will ask the user to type in the desired floor number and then compute the actual floor. Okay, so basically, if we have, this is like the board, typing the floor number that I would like to go to is similar to pressing a button. Okay, it's similar to pressing a button, right? And then when I press the button, now I need to determine, well, which floor do I need to go? Okay, right. So when the input is less than 13. When the input is less than 13. Is there a difference between the floor that I'm going to and the button that I press?
No.
There is no difference, right? There's no difference. Where is the difference?
When coming
when it is above 13. Right? When it is above 13, then if you want to go to the 17th floor, for example, well, this means that in the building, I need to go to floor
16.
18.
لا 16. I will reduce by 1. Huh? I will reduce by
هو الحين إذا بتروح 13 بتروح أنت 14.
13 بقدر أروح 13. طلع على البورد في
هو ما تقدر تروح 13 بس هو رقمه في البورد 14 أزيد بواحد.
صحيح. if you press 14 you go to 13 صح؟
Yes. More than one.
So yeah, you need to decrement. I said if you want to go to the 17th floor.
Yes.
يعني if you press 17 هنا معناته راح تروح لأي floor؟ 16. Okay. So we decrement the input to obtain the actual to obtain the actual floor. Okay. طيب. So how do we visualize this? Well, to visualize this, we may actually use something which is called a flow chart. This is called the flow chart, and the flow chart is such that you can specify what needs to be done in the flow chart, and then you can take that flow chart and convert it to any high-level language you wish. In our case, for example, we would like to convert it to Python. Okay, so for example, we will start with the actual floor initialized to 0. We will start with the actual floor initialized to 0, and then we need to check if the input, the floor that I got from the user is greater than 13. I need the actual floor will be equal to floor minus 1. But if the floor is not greater than 13, which means that it should be less than 13, then the actual floor will be exactly the same as the input floor that I have. So how is this translated into Python? Well, actual floor equals 0, very straightforward. And then we have the if statement. So I have if, and then floor is greater than 13, and then column. We will see that this is called the header. And you have here actual floor equals floor minus 1. So if this is true, then actual floor equals floor minus 1. Else, actual floor is equal to floor. If this is false, if the condition is false, then actual floor is equal to floor. Okay, so this is called a flow chart. Right. So can you guess in the flow chart what is the purpose of the rectangle?
Input. No, so sorry. A value.
It's a statement. For example, assignment statement. It's a statement. So if you look at the rectangle here, it's not input. It's a statement. It's an assignment statement. Right? You're assigning 0 to actual floor. You're assigning floor minus 1 to actual floor. You're assigning floor to actual floor. طيب. And what about the diamond?
Condition.
Well, the diamond will be basically representing the if statement, which contains inside a condition. And then what do the arrows tell us? Well, I will specify if the condition is true, where do I go to? I will specify if the condition is false, where do I go to? Okay. طيب. What do the arrows represent?
The result or the output.
The arrows. What do the arrows represent?
Orders.
Look at this. What do the arrows represent?
The progress or
the flow of the program, صح? which route did it take? You know, it comes from here, then if it came here, then this means that condition is false, it executed this, and here it will continue. And here it will continue. Okay? So a flowchart shows the structure of decisions and tasks that are required to solve a certain problem. Usually, you know, we use the flowchart if the problem is really complex, okay? Otherwise, we can immediately, you know, write code using Python or whatever high-level language. But when things are, you know, very complicated, it's nice to use the flowchart. So flowcharts help programmer to visualize the flow of control, right? To visualize the flow of control. So I don't care about the syntax in the flowchart. All what I care about is, you know, what type of behavior do I need to have, right? And how do I do it in the programming language? It depends on, you know, which programming language I translate it. So these are, as I said, the elements of a flowchart. So as I said, the rectangle is basically a simple task, a simple statement. The diamond is basically a condition. And a parallelogram, we didn't see it in the previous flowchart. This is where you take input from the user or you display output to like the screen or whatever, right? So input and output is usually represented by a parallelogram. Okay? Right.
Doctor,
now,
if the user enter 13, then we need to show error? Or we just leave it?
Let's go back to the board. Can the user enter 13?
No.
في button left 13?
No.
No. So we don't need to. We don't need
so
to.
If I make it will be wrong.
Yeah, well, we took care of it, you know, by design, such that the user can never enter 13. So you don't worry about it. But if there was a button for 13, of course you need to worry about it. Huh?
Okay. Yes.
Very good. Right. So, okay. So sometimes it happens that there is nothing to do in the else branch of the statement. For example, look at this more elegant solution to our previous problem. Instead of starting by saying actual floor equals 0, why don't we start by saying actual floor equal floor? Which in this case, for example, we assume that the value is going to be less than 13. Right? Then we check if floor is greater than 13. Well, just change actual floor to be actual floor minus 1. So do you see which solution is more elegant, is more you know, compact and you know, kind of nice? Is it this solution or this solution? Yani, why do you assign 0 in the first place? Why do you assign 0 in the first place? No, assume that, you know, assign it initially to floor, and if it is greater than 13, just subtract 1. So in this case, when we look at the, yes.
Sorry, proceed. Sorry.
So in this case, when we see actual floor equal floor, and then we see the condition floor greater than 13, well, we need to reduce it by 1. What if it was not greater than 13? I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. خلاص. If it is false, I will just, you know, pass by here and then continue my processing as usual.
Doctor?
So in this case, I did not need an else, right? I did not need an else. Yes.
Sorry, second interrupting. This first one, when I said that actual floor equal floor, it's same like that input. So whatever I input, then the system will check.
Yes. Well, the floor is already has been taken as input from the user.
Yes.
The button, right? So an actual floor is another variable. So I initialize this first to the value floor. the value floor that received from the user, and then I checked if it was greater than 13, then I changed the actual floor equal actual floor by. Okay. So let me ask you the following: would the program be correct if I changed this floor here, this variable floor, if I put actual floor instead of floor? Is the program still correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
I think it's still
Incorrect.
correct.
Why incorrect?
I think it is still correct.
It's still
Because
correct.
the-
I already
because-
assigned. Fadal.
Because the actual floor can be 13.
No, now we said the floor, we said the value floor based on the board on the elevator, there is no button for 13. So I cannot get 13.
So it's okay.
So it's okay. Whether you use the floor or actual floor, it's absolutely correct. Okay. Whether you use the floor or actual floor, it is absolutely correct. Right. So let us now look at the structure, the syntax of the if statement. The if statement is one of the what we call compound statements, right? Now, compound statements in Python basically span multiple lines and consist of a header and a statement block. Any compound statement in Python has two parts, has a header and has the statement block, okay? So the header requires a colon, okay? So after you put if and then the condition, you need to put the colon, okay, the two dots. And the statement block consists of a group of one or more statements. In the previous example, they were all a single statement, okay? The statement block consisted only of a single statement. It's such that each statement is indented to the same indentation level. As you see here, what happened is the actual floor, now it is not starting from the same column as the if. It is indented. And this is kind of unique to Python. From the languages that I know, the only one that indentation has a meaning is basically Python. Inshallah, when we go to C, we will see that indentation is just for what you call for readability. But there is no requirement for indentation. Here, no, it is required. Your program will be wrong if you do not indent it. Okay? So a statement block begins on the line following the header and ends at the first statement indented less than the first statement in the block. So once you go back to the original indentation, this means that the statement block is finished. Okay? Any number of spaces can be used to indent statements within a block, but all statements within a block must be at the same indentation level. There is no, it doesn't say, you need to leave 3 spaces or you need to indent 3 or 4 or 5. You can indent, whatever number of spaces. But the whole block should use exactly the same number of spaces. Now, since comments are not statements, they can be indented to any level. Huh? I can have the, we saw actually sometimes, we write the statement and after we finish, we put the hashtag or the pound and the comment. Huh? Or we could put the comment in the beginning. Comments, do not follow the indentation rule, right? It's only statements that follow the indentation rule, right? So this is basically the syntax of the if statement. So the if statement in this form has two states. The first one is if condition and then a set of statements without an else. The other one is if condition and then colon, and then we have the first set of statements, else, and then we will have the second set of statements, right? The second set of statements. So a condition is usually specified using a relational operator. In this case, for example, it's greater. But there are other relational operators like, equality, not equal, less than or equal, and greater than or equal. And we will see them in detail, inshallah, day after tomorrow. Okay. And then we have, of course, the else branch and the other set of statements. Now, if we don't have an else, then if you start on this column, this means that the if statement has finished. Okay, the block statement of the if has finished. So all the lines of the block statement of the if statement, they need to start from the same column. They need to start from the same column.
Doctor,
Okay. Now,
what if you put space before else? It is okay or no?
No, it's not. هلا بتشوف ها. If I do something like this, if I شايف unindent does not match any outer indentation level. See, I need to match because this else needs to be matched with an if. In this column, if you look before, ما في ولا if starts هنا. Okay, so we need to start the else here. We need to start the else here. Okay, so this is basically the code. This is basically the code. And if I say shift enter, floor input, floor. So which floor do I want? Well, let's say I want to go to floor number 9. So in this case, the elevator will travel to the actual floor 9. It will travel to the actual floor 9. Whereas if I say 18, now it will tell me the elevator will travel to the actual floor 17. Okay? Right. Okay, so now in some Asian countries, the number 14 is considered unlucky. Okay? مش بس 13 will 14. Now, so some building owners play it safe and skip both the 13th and the 14th floor. How would you modify the sample program to handle such a building? So this program, what do you need to change? Yalla, let me see on the chat. What do you need to change in this program so that it will handle both cases? It will handle 13 and 14. It will handle 13 and 14. So let's see. -2. ايش اوكي عنان وعبد الاله ومحمد كلكم حطيتوا -2 ايش وين هذه ال-2? Can you tell me which statement you are going to change? هيهم they are numbered صح? From 1 to 15. Which statement you are going to change? So make actual floor equal floor -2. Line 10. This line, صح? This line. Exactly. Okay. So basically, if I want to solve this, all what I need to do is let me Control C and let me come here, Control V. Okay. And all what I need to do is instead of actual floor equal floor -1, I will say actual floor equal floor -2. Okay.
Excuse me.
So now when I run it, oops, what happened? Okay. So now when I do shift enter, and if I put, for example, 18, now it should give me 16 because I skipped both 13 and 14.
Excuse me. What about line 11? Shouldn't it be floor above 14?
Who can? This is a very good question, by the way. This is a very good question. So should we change also Should we change line 11 by specifying, instead of floor greater than 13, we say floor greater than 14?
If we make like that, then 13 will be considered as normal floor.
13 will be considered as normal floor. Is that correct?
We change 2 to 1 also. We make it 14.
We change the 2 to 1.
I think we don't need to change it because starting from 13, the rest of the numbers above, it will be treated the same.
It will be treated the same. See, since we are already assuming that the user cannot enter 13 or 14. We are assuming that the user cannot enter 13 or 14. Well, this means that if I enter 15 and above, I'll just reduce it by 2. So whether I use 13 or 14, this is correct. Whether I put here 13 or whether I put here 14, it is basically correct, right? In fact, what if I put if the floor is greater than 12? Is it correct? Is the thing gonna stay as correct? If I put if floor is greater than 12, actual floor equal floor minus 2, else actual floor equal floor.
I think no.
Why not?
Yes, because it's bigger than 12.
It's
Not
bigger
bigger
than
than
12.
or equal.
It's bigger than 12 and 13 and 14 are not allowed. So 12 work, 13 work, 14 work. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions, Ya Shabab, before we close?
But doctor, if we put 12,
Aywa.
then it will show 10.
Why?
No, sorry. Sorry.
Okay. If I put 12, it will show 12. Huh? If it's greater than 12, I cannot enter 13, 14, then it will show whatever minus. Okay, Shabab. Any more questions?
Okay, how to put between two numbers? For example, floor between 12 and 18.
Yes, inshallah, we will do that when we talk about the Boolean operators, اللي هم الAND والOR.
Okay,
we will see that inshallah. Okay, Khalid. طيب, anything else يا شباب? Anything else? Okay, so inshallah we'll see you بإذن الله day after tomorrow.